Hello. Right, I've done the whole video before and it just didn't save and I'm gutted because it was a good video and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to recreate it. Let's try. I got a message from somebody who wishes to remain anonymous and they wanted to ask me why. Why have I chosen paganism as a religion? Now, I constantly tell people that witchcraft is a craft, it is a practice. However, there are some people that may want to go down the spiritual route of that and see the spirituality in that. And to some degree, I do see that. I do see spirituality within witchcraft. I do not class it as a religion, though. Now, you can be Christian and be a witch, you can be pagan and be a witch, you can be Muslim and be a witch, Hindu, Jewish, it goes on, you know. You don't have to be pagan in order to be a witch, you know. You don't have to be anything in order to be a witch. Really, just a belief in the spirit world and the unseen and the supernatural. Okay, so I'm going to answer this question, and I'm sorry if it sounds or may sound pretentious or anything like that, or really hippy-dippy, and I really don't mean it to. I don't. This is the only way that I can answer this question. The reason why I am pagan is, to put it in a lot of terms, it's simplistic. I find it very simplistic. I like the simplicity in it. You know, it's the acknowledging of seasons. You have spring, you have that seed, the new life, and then of course we have summer, which is a celebration of life. You know, it's all about light and happiness, and you know, it's great. It's a celebration of life. The earth literally is beautiful in summer, and then of course we have autumn, you know, where the earth prepares to die, the earth fades, the earth starts to die, and we start to see changes in things. You know, the earth starts to change, the earth changes colour from greens and all these beautiful bright colours to browns and reds and goldens. Again, really beautiful colours, because autumn is gorgeous, as well as summer. Summer and autumn, my favourite seasons, without a doubt. And then of course we have winter, where everything dies, you know, where the plants wither, you know, where frost and snow overtakes everything. The trees die, they lose their leaves, you know. The animals go into hibernation, all again to go to spring, where the seeds planted and it all begins again. So I like applying my life with the seasons. You know, for instance, it makes me realise that in order to have something new in my life, you know, change should be accepted. I need to, for instance, you know, if you want a new job or something like that, you know, maybe your old job has to go in order to have your new job, you know, so we need change, you need death to something, and change is good, you know, and it's, Cassandra Laffan-Jones actually said this. She said, well, not this direct quote, but something along the similar lines of this. And she said, I find that if you live your life according to the seasons, it's a lot more easier, it's a lot more simplistic, and that's really, really true. You know, I like that. I like living my life to the seasons, and I find it a lot more simplistic. So yeah, I mean, as well, in terms, if you want to look at it the way of death, you know, everything has to die, you know, death will come, you know, death will come to everybody, you know, but even if something dies, you know, the flesh of that being that will die will get eaten by the bugs, and then the bugs will get eaten by the worms, and then the worms will get eaten by the, you know, snake, and then the snake will get eaten by the birds, you know, and it will go on and on and on. So it's like your life is living on, you know. It might not be, that's not in a spiritual format, but even in a physical format, it goes back to the earth takes that, you know. Everything that we are just will go back to the earth, and that's what I like, you know. It's going back to that source, it's going back to the earth, and it's acknowledging the earth around us. As well, I find it's almost like so I like that idea of life going on physically, but spiritually as well. I find the idea of life eternal. I find that can be, not to everybody, just to me personally. These are all my opinions. Life after death can be proved to me personally, because the winter, everything dies, and then we see that tree that's still and motionless, and then the spring arrives and you see the leaves that start to form. So you see that life once again coming forth, but in a different format, and that's the way that I see the spiritual side. So yeah, I like the idea that I can apply my life with the seasons, and I do find it a lot simplistic and a lot more easier, and it puts me at ease. It just makes me put everything into perspective. Bit of a brain fart there. Another reason as well is that at the Sabbats and basically any days that I have, I often make a point of going to woodlands or areas that are, immersed in nature, away from people. And it's just, what it's like. The moment you wake up, you have that in your head. You have, why should, I need to do this, I need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like 110 things that you're telling yourself you have to do. And it's, a lot of people, especially, I live in a city and I see this a lot. People put themselves under way too much stress. They really do. We live in a society where we're constantly being told what to do. We're being told what we can drink, what we can't drink, what we can take, what we can't take, what we can eat, we have to do this, we have to do that. And I think as people, we're not meant to be bound. I don't feel like we as beings are meant to be spiritually bound. So for one day, I can take myself out of all this hustle and bustle and all these rules and regulations, and just having a water break, all these rules and regulations and whatnot, and just forget about everything and just be me, be me out in nature, in the source where it all began and where it's all gonna end, just to acknowledge nature and know that I'm part of that as well, and that I'm part of that cycle. I often find as well that human beings as a race tend to try to take themselves out of nature and try to disconnect themselves with the earth and with nature. And I think, I believe that stress and depression, to chemical imbalances in the brain and so forth, and well, not really stress, but like depression, bipolar disorder, so forth, and a lot of mental problems that people may have, breakdowns. I believe to an extent, there can be chemical imbalances within the brain and all that, and there are triggers. But I think a lot of the mistake that a lot of people make is they don't pay enough attention to nature. They don't take themselves out of all this, I have to do this, and all this stress, and just put themselves in nature and just forget for one day, and admire and appreciate the earth that you walk on, even if you don't believe in anything, just taking yourself out of the hustle and bustle of everyday life. And a quote that I have is, there is nothing better in this life than going to the woods at midnight, lighting a massive bonfire and screaming at the moon. And to me, it's true. When it comes to paganism in general, like within my practice, I have had really intense experiences, and it sounds really pretentious, and I don't mean it to. Just throughout my life, as a child, as a teenager, the amount of stuff that I got up to, and just the feelings and just the connection with the divine that I used to have was immense, and I still feel that. But I think as a kid, a lot of your senses are heightened. especially if you're on marijuana. No, but, you know, a lot of your senses are heightened. And, like, I found, like, even now, though, like, I mean, for instance, I went to Stonehenge for the summer solstice, and being in a stone circle that was prehistoric, you know, and dancing to the drums, looking up, and it's the full moon, and it was the summer solstice, and just dancing, and just a release. To me, it was a complete release of everything, you know. It was a release, like a psychological release, you know, because that last year I went through, well, this year, basically, hand on my heart, I can say it's one of the hardest years I think I've ever had to endure. I really do. I don't think my life will ever get that bad again. And I'm going to keep it at that. But a really horrible and terrible thing happened. But, you know, going to the Stonehenge and just dancing and just looking up, and the stars are spinning, because I'm, you know, and just, it was a release, you know. It was like a purge, an emotional purge, and I just released everything, you know. And then we done a Lammas ritual as well, and it was like a release, you know. It was like that, being in a stone circle for Lammas with a fire, you know, lit, calling the spirits and connecting with the earth. I can't really say it without sounding pretentious, and I don't want to come across pretentious, but that's why I'm a pagan. You know, those reasons mainly are why I'm a pagan, you know, to apply my life to the seasons, you know, to appreciate death as well as life, you know, to appreciate the darkness as well as light, because in order to have light and fun and laughter, we have to have darkness and death and sadness, you know. You need both. And just, yeah, that's why I'm a pagan. That's why I'm on this path that I am. And I mean, I was in another path. I was in another religion. I started off paganism and basically went into another belief for a while. And I feel I got something out of that, and I feel, you know, don't get me wrong, I used to practice Haitian voodoo, and I had really intense experiences, like amazing experiences. But to me, paganism is a lot more fulfilling. I feel a lot more fulfilled within myself. I feel a lot more happier. And I feel I've had a lot more, I feel I've had really amazing experiences with paganism that have just made me feel so complete. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do without them. It's helped me a lot, psychologically and just spiritually as well, you know, just connecting with the earth again, you know, rather than trying to push myself away from the source, going back to the source, you know. And a lot of people, you know, they have, you know, some beliefs may have that, you know, the man up in the sky is responsible for this earth, you know, but me, you know, my God is the wind, it's the stars, it's the moon, it's the sun, it's the earth, it's, you know, it's everything. It's the storm that kills millions of people, but it's also the really beautiful sunrise in the morning. You know, I don't see all love and light, you know, in terms of divinity and in terms of the gods. I don't see love and light. I do see love and light, but I also see hatred and darkness as well. There is a balance. When I see balance, I see God as balance. The gods, obviously in paganism, each god has their different persona and what sort of different things that they like as well, but that's a different story. But yes, without sounding pretentious, and I really hope I haven't, because I hate that, I can't bear it, makes my blood boil and gets my goat on, literally. That is why I'm pagan. So over and out, people, and peace.